Good afternoon, Razorback Nation, and we are back with you today for your Sunday Razor recap. A little bit earlier than normal, but still going to be the regular show you can count on Sundays afternoons. We're brought to you by our friends over at Razor Pigs. Looking good, never felt so fun. Razor Pigs is the Arkansas-born brand, bringing some serious style to the golf course, tailgate, and everywhere in between. From high-quality polos to head-turning hats, they've got what you need to rep the natural state with pride. Founded right here at home. Now run by a Razorback-loving family, Razor Pigs is where comfort meets cool. So go hog wild. Shop Razor Pigs today at razorpigs.us, and you can get a hat just like Hobbs is sporting for us today. And our friends over at Scarlet Letter, Arkansas's very own handcrafted spiked seltzer. You can check them out today. And if you are in Northwest Arkansas, check out the Core Brewery Tap Room, where you can get Scarlet Letter in all of its various flavors, as well as their new hard iced teas that they have released. Sunday afternoon, big basketball win yesterday. How are we feeling, boys?
Feeling good. So was definitely pivotal get to 2-2 on those, primetime games. So after starting 0-2, we've won 2 of them in a row. Definitely needed that. And also a revenge game for all the guys that were here last year. So that was also good to see.
Yeah, it's always good to beat Texas Tech. And like I said, all these wins early in the year, they're all resume builders. So they're going to matter for March. So big time win.
Yeah, I know. Right. JC Hoops over on Twitter saw something from him. It was that in Q1A games, we're now 2-2. And there's only, I believe, only 3 teams have more wins, and only 2 teams have 2 wins with a better percentage in those games than us. So, I mean, the 3 teams ahead of us are UConn, Arizona, Duke. And the 2 with the better win percentage are Iowa State, Purdue. You look at all 5 of those teams, they are all 5 super strong teams. So good company to be with right now this early in the season.
I was going to say, yeah, good group to have your name in with. And, I think this game was a great game in terms of thinking, way to see the growth from these young players and facing adversity. You go into the half, you're down. It's been a tough game. For all intents and purposes, JT Toppin dominated the first half of that game. Cal came out with a good defensive adjustment in the second half. Good game plan on, doubling Toppin, forcing him. And, to the point that some of the announcers made, both Toppin and Anderson, they hadn't been taken out of the game the entire game. So, they were starting to wear down. I think they said they'd only played 6 players, where Arkansas has its rotation. We know we got
they had 6 guys playing in. So, and we knew coming in, we knew that Toppin and Anderson were pretty much their offensive game plan. They came in averaging a combined 41.5 points a game. That's just over 50% of their team's points per game. So, they ended up scoring 65% of their points yesterday. But I think it was after the game, I believe, Kelsey, we kind of let Toppin get his, but kind of took out the rest of the team. And I know, we talked about it. You can't let the role players that normally get them, 6 to 8 points, can't let them get Han put up 15, 16, because that's just going to make it more difficult. So I think it was almost based on the first half, almost a cut your losses with Toppin and just take away the 3 almost. Also, I think putting Brazil on Toppin was great down the stretch. He did very well guarding it. Speaking of Brazil, was just fantastic to watch. Fantastic. He was 4 or 5 from 3, very efficient. If he plays that way consistently, it's going to be very tough to beat him. So,
yeah, I mean, he's really making a name for himself to really be a lottery pick. Maybe not a lottery pick, but at least a first round pick. Right now. I mean, the way he's playing is phenomenal. It's a different player out there than we're used to. So
for sure. And, us Hog fans, we've seen kind of the potential from him last couple of years. We see those games where he looks like, hey, this dude's crazy good. Getting that consistency and getting, the rest of the nation to see how good he is, that's going to mean a lot. And I think he could be a lottery pick if he continues to play even somewhat like he did yesterday. Because, I mean, He was 24 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 8 of 13 shooting, 4 or 5 from 3, and he was 4 or 4 from the free throw line. Fantastic stat line. That's what you needed. And it was in a big game, not against, a mid-major, smaller school. It was in a big-time, big conference game. So definitely good to see that growth from him.
Yep. Right, and that's one of those things, too, where you look at it, we saw him kind of have the dud in the Michigan State game, but ever since then, we were like, how does he respond? The two bigger games since then, even though Duke was lost, he stepped up in that game, stepped up in Louisville, stepped up in this game. So
I think they showed a graphic on the left side of the screen about that in those big games, kind of how he had progressed. So obviously he's definitely on the uphill trend. And like you said, at halftime we were down, flying back from that. I think it was very promising considering, two of our main guards are freshmen, fairly young team. And so having your freshmen step up and be able to battle back the way we did was tremendous.
I was about to say, and you can't talk about this game without talking essentially, you got to feel like this game was the breakout game for Carter Knox this season. We've been waiting around all season. We thought he was going to go on a little bit earlier in the year. And then this game, to credit him, he was on that team last year. But, he steps up in this game, 35 minutes, 20 points, 8 of 11 from the field, shoots 3 of 4 from 3, hits 1 of 3 from the line, has 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks. So, he just came out
of everything. Definitely showed to see him kind of get his feet under him because that's one where, this season, hey, our guards have been great. But there was, I think, some, especially considering the roster build we have, there was almost some unrealistic expectations on Knox to come in and just knock it out of the ballpark, be everything. I mean, we're too talented of a team to rely on 1 or 2 guys like that. So I think Cal said after the game, he talked to Knox a lot this past couple of weeks, just have fun, be yourself. Don't try to live up to these expectations people are setting. It's great to see him more comfortable in doing what he does for the team. If we can keep him on kind of the way he was this game, that's just another weapon that makes his team even more dangerous. So definitely good to see him kind of have a good breakout game against good competition.
Yeah, and he played he had a great game against Texas Tech in the Sweet 16 game too. So I think what he went 4 for 4 from 3 that game. So it's good to see him because when he that's one thing about him, when he gets in rhythm from beyond the arc, he doesn't miss. Like he starts just hitting them back to back to back. So he's got it. If we have him in Brazil playing that way with the guards that we have, we're going to be tough to handle.
I think Knox may want us to play Texas Tech every game. So,
yeah.
Hey, that's what I was going to say. Just if you're Cal, tell him, hey, each game is versus Texas Tech. Just have that in your mind.
Every
each
game,
game's Texas Tech. But yeah, it was good to see because that makes 3 guys not only in double figures, but 3 guys with 20 plus points between Knox, Acuff, and Brazil. And we haven't even talked about Acuff. He was good late down the stretch and key and having that comeback and then, just pushing ahead and keeping on in this game, 34 minutes, 20 points, 7 of 14 from the field. So, taking the most shots on the team, 1 ahead of Brazil, 2 of 5 from the 3-point line, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 block for Acuff. So he's out there doing it all as well. But, the maturity we're seeing from him, as the season's gone, definitely he's the real deal. A guy that if he keeps on maturing the rest of the season, which he will, knock on wood, by the time you get to March, his game could be to a whole nother level.
Yeah. Obviously, I could be a little bit of a reach here, but at least through your first, 10 games now, he's very much, I remember a few years back with Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, very much reminded me of how De'Aaron Fox was playing that first half of their season. So definitely seeing some comparisons right there. So that's definitely exciting as well. And my big comparing players, obviously it's a little bit different now, but still gave me kind of some flashes of some De'Aaron Fox. So that's definitely exciting to look forward to as well.
Right, because you look at it through the first 10 games of the season, he's averaging about 32 minutes a game. He's shooting 46.4% from the field, 41.8% from three, 72% from the free throw line, averaging about 3 rebounds, nearly 6 assists a game, almost a steal a game. So, I'll take those stats every day of the week.
Yeah, and what is it, 26 assists over the last 3 games? I think it was 10 assists against Louisville, or
yes, 10 against Louisville, 8 against Fresno, 8 against Texas Tech.
Okay, so 26 assists over the last 3 games. Definitely love to see that.
Yeah, that's a 26-7 turnovers ratio.
And
so
again,
nearly 3-1.
That Fresno one, I don't know if you can really count that one as it was dribbling the clock out, and it was like, hey, 2 seconds on the shot clock, 3 on the game clock, and you kind of just, here you go. So
fair enough.
I remember that one, yeah.
I personally am not counting that one, so I'm counting it as a turnover-free game for him. But
yeah, I agree. I remember that. It was kind of a pointless stat line.
Okay, here you go. It's either going to be a shot clock violation or, hey, here's the ball. So,
right. Yeah, and you talk about the guys on Texas Tech squad, specifically Toppin. I mean, hats off to him. Great job. You got to give him his credit. Played 40 minutes, scored 30 points, took 22 shots, hit 14 of those from the field, had 11 rebounds, so got himself a double-double. But hats off to him. Even to your point you mentioned earlier, Zane, is he got his, and Arkansas still found a way to come out with a win, and that's what you got to do with teams like this. It's let him do, we took the approach of, all right, Toppin can have all he wants, and we'll shut down the outside. And I mean, they still shot 42% from 3, but their second half compared to their first, it was not as comparable.
Yeah, definitely liked seeing their performance in the second half compared to ours. So.
Right, and then we finished the game shooting 53%.
We kind of hinted at the deeper bench wore them down, which was definitely good.
Right.
So, because I mean, you're running a 6-man rotation. We saw that with Muss a couple times. You're gonna wear down eventually.
Right.
Your guys are gonna wear down, especially with, they had 2 guys playing the entire 40 minutes. That's one where it's. Yeah, you're going to get worn out. You're going to not be as explosive, as good. You're going to be less disciplined there near the end of the game. I think there were a couple fouls on top in there in those last few minutes that earlier in the game he was doing better at keeping his hands off and being more aggressive, more kind of energized. So definitely saw that physical kind of wear down on his body as the game progressed, which was important.
Right. And, the one thing, if you do take anything out of this game, to me, we need to be a little bit more consistent on free throws. I mean, we shot 65% in this game. Pringle going 0 of 4, Knox hitting 1 of 3. Still a little bit better there. It's, not necessarily this game, but we're going to have some games.
Free throws this season. We came in 15th in the country in free throw percentage. So, yeah, there was a little bit of maybe some nerves playing in a NBA arena, but I think it definitely also hit Texas Tech. They were 3 of 10 from the free throw line, so they were shooting 30% from the free throw line as a team. So thankfully, it wasn't just us seeing that kind of dip in free throw percentage. It was one that affected both teams.
And I think that shows you a lot of how much of an emphasis Cal and this team with these guards put an emphasis on getting to the rim and drawing fouls. I mean, shooting 26 compared to Texas Tech's 10 when, their whole game plan was throw it into Toppin and let him go up, whereas, ours is a drive and attack approach.
Yeah, and, we kind of saw that with Louisville. Louisville settled, shot a bunch of threes, and we beat them on the free throw attempts handedly. So I think that, being able to shoot free throws at a high clip like we are and make them at a higher clip, I think that's definitely playing kind of to our advantage with our guard skill set of being able to get downhill and get to the rim. I think just that physicality is going to also wear down teams as the game progresses. So definitely something important that I think we need to keep doing.
Agreed. Yeah, you love to see it. Austin jumping in the comments here says the only person who travels better than Arkansas fans is JT Toppin in the paint.
Yeah,
That's
he got
true.
away with. He did get away with a few.
I was about to say, but that is something that was really cool to see, especially on TV and the people that were there on social media, was that the environment was fantastic. People were calling it, Bud Walton South. You could hear it through the TV. Fans showed up, showed out, and I think that was a big part in what helped this Arkansas team down the stretches. They took over that lead, and then you had the fans behind you as well. And
definitely helps.
They didn't look back.
So definitely helps not being able to, but having a fan base that travels as well as we do, definitely always helps in the long run.
Right. And Transplant Texan says, is there any credit left to give to Toppin after the announcers glazed him the entire game? That they did.
So I will say, I agree. Yes, they were all about him. Dude's also preseason All-American. I mean, the dude is a talented guy. He got away with a few travels. He did kind of, but the dude played the entire 40 minutes, still put up 30 points, still shot pretty good percentage. His free throw percentage wasn't great, but he also got 7 offensive rebounds. 1 or 2 of those I don't know about, but he is a very talented player. So in my unbiased opinion, he is a very talented player that did deserve a good amount of the hype and compliments given to him watching him play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just preparing to play in the NBA because that's all they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Austin said the whole game. He said, I don't get annoyed with announcers often, but I did on Saturday. I was about to say, it seemed like every other sentence
how often they complimented. I think the more annoying thing was that whenever he did take a dumb shot or, just have a bad play, he didn't really talk about that part. That's where I got more annoyed with. Like, okay, you're only going to talk about the good. You got to also critique the player when he's getting this much attention.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Transplant Texan said the announcers had to Google the Arkansas roster in between Top and Glaze in order to construct new talking points when the Hogs went in the lead. But yeah,
maybe. Yeah. But I mean, if they play like this consistently, by the end of the season, you're not going to have to Google our roster at all. So they're pretty solid and they're playing well, and they definitely seem to be playing with a chip on their shoulder in a sense. So that's definitely good to see because, it's real easy when you're ranked, when you beat good teams, to kind of just get that, oh, no, like, we're so good with this. I feel like that's one thing we've seen already from Cal this year is just, hey, like, we're looking for bigger things. We're not going to get too ahead of ourselves. We're not going to overlook anything. Keep your head down, play good basketball. And it's almost like he implements a us against the world mindset with the team. It's one of those, hey, you have something to prove. And so I think that extra motivation is also helpful in games for sure.
Yeah, my problem is that I feel like we've been penalized for losing games. I know the rankings don't really matter. At the end of the day, it's all about the selection committee in March or where they do your seeding. But we've been penalized for losing close games to probably 2 of the best teams in the country, if not the 2 best now. So, and then we literally show what we can do against Louisville and Texas Tech. And I just feel like we should have never been dropped. I mean, we're at the point where we're almost out of the top 25. We were 25.
I agree, but also it was good today to see, again, JC Hoops tweeted this out this morning that, daily they adjust all the rankings. The net ranking, we came in at number 19 today. That's the highest we've been since week 17 of the 2022-23 season. So I think there's definitely some credit given, more so on the Texas Tech win than the Louisville win, just because I feel everyone knows Bud Walton's a tough place to play. Yeah. So being able to go on a neutral side and get this win against Texas Tech, I almost feel like helped us more so on the metrics. Mm-hmm. So I think definitely, there's no – I don't know if we'll be overly penalized for anything. I'm not going to say yes or no, but I feel like it's definitely important to get that neutral site win.
Right. And it's like Transplant Texan mentioned here. We hit it earlier, and you mentioned it. the Hogs got their second Q1A win, looking good in the non-cons for so far, getting at 500 at 2-2. Cal's prepping them for a run and making a case for a good ranking in the tournament. And, one more neutral site game left is in next Saturday. We'll be taking on Houston in New Jersey. They're ranked 7th at 10-1 on the season, with their only loss coming to Tennessee. So, that's
looking at rosters and how they played, I think I would take us over Tennessee at this point. So I feel, I kind of like our chances there.
Right. And so, coming up next for Arkansas, they get to come back home for a quick home stint, as next Tuesday they will take on Queens in Bud Walton for a late tip at 8 o'clock. And then after that, they'll be back on the road for a neutral site game, as we just mentioned, against Houston in New Jersey at the Prudential Center. And then after that, one more game before we start conference play. So, 3 more games and we'll wrap up at the non-conference schedule. And then after the turn of the new year on January 3rd, we'll get conference play kicked off with Tennessee at home in Bud Walton at 2 o'clock.
It's nice to start off at home to start conference play. I think we've started on the road last few seasons. So
we have.
It's good to have that first game at home.
I think one of them was at Tennessee.
Yeah, was it last year where it was
I think so.
30, 35 point loss,
which
maybe?
Is a place we can't ever win at. But yeah, I mean, that's huge to get to started off, because last year we started 0-4, 0-5 in
conference.
So it's huge to get that home game. I expect that place to be rocking that Saturday.
It'll be a fun game. I think students. I don't know if students will be back. I think so. So I don't know for sure on the academic calendar, schedule, whatnot, where that game will fall. But
I don't care who's back.
The ones that are here should be there.
Saturday, they better be there.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So I know the university's done a good job about, like, whenever the students are going, whether it be fall break, winter break, they'll actually open the student section seating to the general public. You can buy student seating tickets. So, I will say they've done a good job about, like, hey, if they know a lot of students won't be here, then open it up to where you can buy student seating and, you can get fans in to sit there. So,
yep.
But yeah, big time win for Arkansas. Love to see, they did talk about the rematch. It was big time. All these guys, they talked to Carter Knox earlier in the week, and he was talking about how, it means a lot to these guys. And then,
it is personal.
It was personal. And they even talked to, Darius Acuff, and he said, hey, I wasn't here last year, but I want to get these wins for those guys because it's important to them. So, you got to love the team camaraderie there when it's talking about that, having a chip on their shoulder and coming in and just getting a big time win in this non-conference schedule like we've been talking about.
Yeah, definitely big. So I do want to comment. So there's someone just commented about Arkansas will be a 2 seed in the tournament. As much as I like it, realistically, if you want my full opinion on it, I think we'll be maybe the weakest 3 or a strong 4 seed. Just with our conference schedule, with kind of some of the games we have, I just don't honestly see us being a 2 seed, as much as, that may come across as a Debbie Downer. If I'm being realistic, I think I don't really see us getting into that top 1 or 2 seeds. But at the same time, with Cal, preaching that chip on their shoulder and having that, something to fight for, I don't know if it wouldn't be better to be a 3 or 4 seed as opposed to 1 or 2. Let them go in with that extra motivation of, hey, we have something to prove. So,
yeah. I mean, and a thing to think about too, you mentioned conference and, thinking about Florida. I saw this comparison yesterday, and Transplant Texan hits it right here. He said, looking at the gameplay so far, can we all agree that the pickup of freshman Acuff and Thomas has been a bigger value add for Arkansas compared to Boogie's impact at Florida?
100% agree with that. I think they have been very good at what they're good at and what they do. They've shown very well. They've also grown a lot as the season progresses. In the moment, it did suck losing Boogie, but seeing what he's doing for Florida right now, cannot say I'm too upset. I want to say it was Duke, may have had like a 5-second violation in the ball inbound in crunch time, and then maybe took a couple shots he shouldn't have. So I think definitely I'd almost go as far as to say even the decision making from our freshmen, from what I've seen in big games, especially come crunch time, has definitely outweighed kind of what Boogie was doing for Florida. So I think it was definitely a good pickup and good choice to take those two over Boogie.
Right. And that's like to say, no disrespect to Boogie at all.
Yeah, no,
he's still a good player.
He's a very good player.
But for Arkansas and its roster build, I think Cal approached it the right way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, Boogie, like you said, no disrespect to him, but I mean, he's a Gator now. And really the only time that we had success with him on the floor last year was the Michigan game. Other than that, we were not a very good team when he was on the floor with us. So it didn't work out here. And
once the DJ took over the point guard, I think we were more efficient and played with a little bit more of a umph to us.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, it works out how it's supposed to, and it just wasn't in the cards for Boogie to stay, based off everybody coming in. So, but yeah, like Transplant Texas said here, both Boogie and Knox came out flat to start the season after attending the NBA Combine. Is there a correlation there, or just
for me? I think it's almost one of those, like I alluded to earlier with Knox. Having some almost unrealistic expectations. And so, you're carrying that, you're expecting, hey, I have to come in and do all this. You don't. You just need to play the way you're comfortable with, play to your strengths. Don't try to make your game a way that it's not naturally. And so, I think that can kind of go for quite a few guys that go through the draft process and back out. Also, while you're doing that, you're also not in team summer practices. You're kind of more so working individually. Maybe there's some chemistry once your freshmen get in, you're having to kind of catch up on. But I think the big thing is just kind of the expectations thrust upon you whenever you come back. I think that messes with players a lot more mentally than people like to think. So that's just kind of my opinion on that stance.
Well, and I know there was a lot of talk last year, too, coming into this year, if Knox returned, that he could be, a potential SEC player of the year type of player. And, those type of expectations. And I know when he decided to come back, I wonder if he started reading some of that, and being like, okay, I got to step up my game this year. Everybody saw where I came on late, had a great tournament run, end of the season performance. And, I got to come out with that. And to your point, it's like Cal said, and that's part of, coaching these young guys like this is like, hey, he came in with these expectations and Cal just had to preach him, hey, just go out there and have fun and the game will come to you. Like, it's like one of those things that, with these kids like this and on top of getting NIL and getting paid, those expectations are there. But at the end of the day, I appreciate how Cal, talks to these guys and be like, hey, let's get back to having fun and just playing basketball.
Yeah, exactly. It's, again, a lot easier said than done once you kind of know the expectations that the fan base has for you. You don't want to let people down, but you also got to play kind of within your skill set. You can't be trying to do all this extra stuff that you're not naturally good at. So it's tough for sure. But yeah, definitely I think, the approach Cal has with, hey, just have fun with it, be yourself. That's definitely a good approach to have with it.
Right. So at the end of the day, we hope that both guys have the best seasons that they can. Boogie, whenever they play us, that's the only asterisk I'm going to put in there as far as
for sure.
Don't have a good game then, but the rest of the season continue to build up and have a good year. So so to think about that, Arkansas has one big non-conference game left, and that's Houston. We'll dive more into that another show, but the chat does ask, who do you guys have in the Houston game just right off the bat?
78.
You mentioned it earlier.
78-76 Arkansas in overtime. I think Houston's defense and ability to slow the game down is very good. I think they're going to be able to slow it down, but I also feel like just the pure talent and physicality that we have will be able to kind of down the stretch. We've seen it multiple times. We have quite a few guards that can get to the rim, blow by their guy. Obviously, Houston's going to be a tough challenge there. But I think it'll be one of those games where it's going to, I don't think any team will have more than 7-point lead at any point. It'll be a close fought, hard game for sure. I do think that Cal's going to be able to get one or two of their guys in foul trouble by attacking the rim consistently like the way we've talked about. I think that may prove to be the difference maker in the end.
Yeah.
So, it's my opinion.
I mean, I've had a chance to sit down and watch Houston play a couple of times this year, and they don't overly impress me. However, they are physical, and it's going to be a physical game. Our bigs are going to have to be physical. It's going to be probably a lot of free throw shots in that one. And then can we shoot from the three consistently? That's going to be the factor too. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be one of those probably low scoring. I don't know if it goes to overtime or not. I hope not. That sounds stressful to me. It's going to be a stressful game. It's going to be one of those going back and forth. So, but of course, I've got us at the end. Of course, always.
And I think that the big thing for Queens this week on the midweek is get Malik Thomas some more confidence shooting. Just because, he has had a couple games where he's kind of a little bit not struggled, but just hasn't been able to hit the shot from outside as well. Hopefully we can see Knox shoot similar to how he did yesterday. And then if we can get Malik back rolling the way he can, then that'll definitely help being able to hit from outside, maybe mess with Houston a little bit defensively.
Yeah. Yeah. Transplant Texan asked, he said, do we have any word on Pringle? Is he nursing an injury, or was his play just below par Saturday?
I haven't heard anything, but obviously I don't know for sure, but I have seen kind of every single time he comes out, he does have that little back brace he's always wearing, kind of that strap one. So, it might just be just kind of a physical wear down, but I don't know for sure. But that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on if it is. So,
and that might be, if that is something, rest him in the midweek game. Like, let some other guys get some playing time. But, it's one of those things. Cal's going to manage that. And he's been around long enough. He knows how to handle these situations. So, I don't know if we have a residential Houston fan in, but Mike on here says Houston 92, Arkansas 75. I don't think we lose by.
That's not happening.
I don't see us losing by 17.
We're not giving up that. We're not losing by that margin.
And I don't see Houston putting up those many points.
No.
I don't see them putting up that many points. Could we lose by, 10 to 15, possibly, if you get some foul trouble, and if we just are having an off night. I don't see us in this big a game. I don't see us losing like that. So especially because we've been at Michigan State, lost by 3, Duke neutral site by 9. I don't think Houston's better than Duke. I could be wrong. I think just kind of I think it'll be single digits if we do lose.
Yeah, I mean, we could lose, but it's not going to be a blowout either way. If we win, we're not going to blow them out. If we lose, we're not going to get blown out. This is going to be one of those March type of back and forth, punch in the mouth, I punch back type of game. It's going to be a fight.
And I think it might not even be one of those, hey, it's a game of runs. I just don't even see it really getting – I don't see anyone going on 10-0 run. I don't see it getting above a double-digit lead at any given point, really. We may start off slow and get down 8 or 9, but I don't think they'll get down by 10 or more, honestly. I think they'll be able to kind of hold on and keep it single digits the entire game.
And I see the comment about Houston was in the championship last year. That doesn't mean nothing. We could have played Houston in the tournament last year too, and it would have been a close game again. This last year's team could have competed with Houston. This is That means nothing.
I mean, if you want to talk like that, I mean, like, yeah, Louisville and Texas Tech were both in the Elite Eight last year.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, just saying. But no, I'm not trying to discredit Houston, though. I just think it'll be a lot closer game, better game.
But Houston, we will have a problem Saturday. So,
yeah,
let's get it.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up the basketball talk, fantastic win against Texas Tech on Saturday. Like we said, good job moving to 500 in those non-conference games, those big-time matchups. So, as we continue on, we still have some additional staff moves being made by Coach Silverfield and this football team. And, I think we talked about it last time. We said maybe not as impressed, but as we keep going, these last two hires that Silverfield's made, I've been pleasantly surprised and impressed with these two so far. And the first one that came out late yesterday was that we are targeting, again, emphasis, we are targeting these guys, nothing official put out there yet. But the first one was Marion Hobby, who, for the defensive line coach, who is consistently in that same role at Tennessee. He has a ton of experience. This is one thing that I like about this guy and some of these guys that Coach Silverfield's going after is he has a ton of experience. So, started his coaching career at Tennessee Martin as a strength and conditioning coach. Went to Louisiana Lafayette, defensive tackle, strength and conditioning. Was at Tennessee in 1998 as an assistant strength coach. Coached at Ole Miss from 99 to 04 as D-line. Coached at Clemson on the defensive end. And then went to the Saints, coached there for a couple seasons. Went to Duke, coached there for a couple seasons as defensive coordinator, D-line coach. Went back to Clemson as a co-defensive coordinator from 2011 to 16. Went back to the pros, coached the Jaguars defensive line from 2017 to 18. Coached the Dolphins D-line 2019 to 20. And then most recently with the Bengals 21 to 24. And then this past season back at Tennessee as just a defensive analyst. So getting an opportunity to come over to Arkansas, take over the D-line position coach. A lot of experience there that could be very beneficial for these guys.
I think the big thing you hit on going over his experience was NFL experience as well. So, he's obviously familiar with the game, but also, hey, when you're talking the NFL level, yeah, guys are probably there longer, but also you're probably talking that there's probably more fundamentals with it, as well as more of a identifying kind of the raw talent and kind of utilizing a player's potential. So that's just something that kind of stands out to me whenever I think of that.
Yeah, it's good to get some good coaches in. I mean, it gives you a little bit of hope for football next year.
Well, I mean, and you look at it too. Look at the Tennessee defensive line over these past few years. I mean, that's been a strong point for them. And, his resume does include he was a national championship as a co-defensive coordinator at Clemson back in 2016. And this past year, Tennessee, their front four on the defensive line, 38 sacks, which was tied for 5th in the FBS, and 82 total tackles for loss, which was 13th in the FBS. So Tennessee's pressure allowed its secondary to pick off 10 passes, which was tied for 11th nationally. So, he's been on a team and that's had recent success as well that, ranked top, 15 nationally in several categories there. So I'm sure they're probably waiting to get some contracts done, and then we'll probably get an official announcement once he kind of gets his entire staff lined up. But then you jump over to the offensive side of the ball. We kind of thought maybe, the offensive coordinator coming over from Memphis, Tim Cramsey, was going to handle quarterbacks coaching, and that's not necessarily the case. So it's reported that Arkansas is now targeting Clint Trickett as Arkansas's quarterback coach. He is most recently the OC/quarterbacks coach at Jacksonville State. And this season actually led them to having the number 1 offense in Conference USA this season.
And they're pretty new to conference. They're pretty new to FBS. So come in and automatically lead your conference pretty quick is, pretty good little thing to hang your hat on. So.
Right. And, you look at his resume, 15 to 16, he was the quarterbacks coach at East Mississippi.
That's right.
2017 to 9. Do what?
So this is like an hour from here.
2017 and 19 was the tight ends coach at Florida Atlantic. And then in 20 became the co-OC quarterbacks coach at Florida Atlantic. In 2021, went over to Marshall, was the wide receivers/passing game coordinator. 22 to 23 was Marshall's OC and quarterbacks coach. In 2024, Georgia Southern's tight end and passing game coordinator. And then this past season was at Jacksonville State. So, and he has that experience. A quarterback himself, played 2 seasons at Florida State, 2 seasons at West Virginia at quarterback. And you look at him, he's a younger guy. He's 34. So, has a little bit of great combination of experience, but also that youth that, will be good for a lot of these younger guys.
Mm-hmm. So. No doubt.
Transplant Texan said here, Silverfield gets some extra credit. He's called the Hawgs more than Dana Altman and has not blocked anyone on X like Pittman. Let's see how these hires retention players pan out next season.
Yeah. I mean, obviously some big retention players be brought back already. But, yeah, the Dana Altman comment, as soon as I saw that one, I was like, I hope Caleb puts this one up because that's entertaining.
Exactly. So, but, yeah, I mean, so the offense at at Jacksonville State this season led Conference USA in total offense at 419 yards per game. He established a rushing attack that also led Conference USA with more than 258 yards per game and just averaged under 30 points per game. So, I mean, very similar. I know he's very unproven, but essentially it almost seems like you're getting a younger, up-and-coming Petrino type of, coordinator, if you will, the way he orchestrates his offense.
Yeah. Obviously, drawing comparisons to Petrino, you're going to kind of some like that, some don't. But obviously, I feel he's almost too young in the coaching world to really kind of identify him as a Petrino, but definitely some aspects of it to kind of draw those comparisons. So I don't think that's a horrible comparison.
I was about to say, and then there's another thing too that, people have talked about is that, he developed a strong offense at a top JUCO program that was where he worked directly on quarterback fundamentals and development and was on Last Chance U. So like the Netflix documentary.
That's pretty good, man.
So, I'm excited. These hires are, at first we're, for all intents and purposes, a little bit underwhelmed, but, as we've went on and some of these hires that we've made, has piqued my interest, and I like the trend and trajectory that Silverfield is headed. Transplant Texan said Silverfield is targeting the Arizona State GM and hired the Memphis GM. Who becomes the actual football GM, and where does this leave Remy Cofield? So I think we've got some more clarification on this. So it's actually the Arizona GM, not Arizona State. But so we're bringing him over, and he's going to be the GM for football. From what I understand, the Memphis GM that is coming over is going to be kind of like more of a director of player personnel in terms of what his role will be. And this is still going to have Remy Cofield as the GM overarching, like he is going to be the Arkansas GM. But as you're seeing, we're going to have a football specific GM. And I think that comes because you just have so many players. So essentially, look at it this way. Remy is going to go out and find the money and then your football GM is the one that's going to kind of handle the interactions and kind of the money conversations with the student athletes for football.
Yep.
And Remy's more because he wasn't he with the Celtics before here, so
yes,
he's more basketball oriented, but he's going to kind of be managing all the other sports as well. But with football being so big, of a money machine, like it is good to have those football specific guys. Also, it's good to have some guys who, because Remy's his specialty is probably not football, it's probably basketball.
Right.
So it's good to have some guys who may be better versed in the football world and all that.
Yeah.
So.
And then speaking on retention, so we got some more news this weekend. And, I think the biggest one is that as of now, I'm gonna put this out there and say, as of now, Braylon Russell is coming back.
As of now.
Season. As of now. We just based off history, we know how that can go, but he posted late Friday that he was going to come back and use the hashtag all in, kind of Silverfield's motto. So, that's good to see if that is the case. We were joking before the show, if this is the only thing we hear out of him, fantastic. Welcome him back. We saw some glimpses and flashes of what he can do this year. And, there's the potential with Mike Washington gone that, if the situation's right, that he could kind of be in a lead back type of role. I mean, yeah, you'll probably see a little bit of a committee, but in terms of, majority of carries, you could see Russell in that type of role next year. It just depends on who else you go out and try to target in the transfer portal. But, I think that was a big one to see that you're getting KJ Jackson back now. You're getting one of your top running backs right back. And so the transplant Texans point, this is where I'm going. Russell all in. It does his daddy know. So
exactly. Yep. It's crazy that thinking back on the his crash out he had on Twitter this past season.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna say, hey, he's all in. Nothing will change. I'm at least gonna be hopeful. So I'll leave it at that. So I'm not gonna comment any farther on anything. So,
Transplant Texas.
I definitely hope he's here next year. I'll leave it at that.
Right. Transplant Texan mentioned too, he's like, I was wondering why Hunter brought in a GM with a basketball background when the football program was the one that needed help. Glad to see Silverfield's getting football GM in place. I agree. And we talked about it on the show this past week, how, the GM that he is hiring coming over from Arizona really helped get Arizona into a good spot, really helped turn around their program, and especially in terms of talent. So, what they're doing so far, I like it. Other returnees that we have kind of gotten hinted on other than so Braylon Russell, freshman tight end Gavin Garrettson will be back. So, some depth in the tight end room. We're still kind of waiting to hear on Jaden Platt in terms of does he come back? He's another one I'd love to have back. And then today, Trent Sellers, freshman defensive lineman / edge, announced he is going to be returning along with Quincy Rhodes, Kevin Otis, and Keandre Johnson. So
definitely like that.
So, we still got a couple weeks until transfer portal, quote unquote, officially opens, even though guys are going ahead and declaring now. But, I think that's as we go these next few weeks, you're going to see guys being making their decision, letting it be known. And I think that's just part of seeing what Silverfield's going to do, learning who's coming back, who are you going to have retained, because it was mentioned earlier that retention. And so, that's the fun piece to watch. Transplant Texan mentioned here too. Amazing to see the moves being made when the head coach actually has head coaching experience. Hopes it's a sign of more positive things to come. R.E. Silverfield and the Hawgs football program.
So I will say, like, I agree, but also Silverfield and Pittman, pretty sure they both have 6 years head coaching experience at this point. So they're very similar in terms of the head coaching experience. I think Silverfield being a little bit younger and also being in a group of 5 conference where you are almost having to rely on the transfer portal more so. Just because I feel like the power conference teams are able to kind of pull those elite players out of high school at a higher level. I feel like kind of trying to compete with the Power 4 conference has definitely helped him utilize the portal and kind of utilize how to build a roster a little bit better. So I think it's more so than just, hey, he has head coaching experience. I think it's also just more so being younger and being where he was, kind of how he had to adapt. Like we said on previous show, like, he's very much if I don't have the money, I'll go door to door if I have to and get it. Like, he's very much more proactive. Whereas I feel like Pittman, not a bad thing, but Pittman was very much like, okay, like, these are the cards I've been dealt. This is how I'm going to try and make it work.
Right.
Where Silverfield's like, oh, these are the cards I've dealt. I'm going to go find someone to give me some more cards. So it's just kind of a different approach, different tactic, different mindset. But yeah, I think it's more than just, hey, he has head coaching experience coming in. So just kind of want to allude to that at least.
Yeah, and Transplant Texas said pushback here, as he said. So Pittman came in with 0 head coaching experience, whereas we're getting Silverfield that does already have 6 years.
Yes, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, like entering this past season, both coaches were entering this 2025-26 season with 5 years head coaching experience. So they had the same years of experience. But yes, we are getting Silverfield coming into Arkansas with more experience.
Right.
So I definitely get what you're saying. I was just saying, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, kind of the thing now is, let's get a linebackers coach. If you're looking at, if you go through your coaching staffs both sides of the ball. So you got Silverfield head coach on the offensive side of the ball, Tim Cramsey, offensive coordinator, and these are just reported, nothing official yet, at least from the university. Tim Cramsey following over from Memphis' OC, Clinton Trickett from Jacksonville State as QB's coach, David Johnson from running backs coach from Florida State. He did post a picture inside the practice facility already, but nothing official reported as far as welcome to the staff at the university. Larry Smith, wide receivers coach, coming over from Memphis. Morgan Turner, it was reported yesterday that he will be retained by Coach Silverfield. Jeff Myers, O-line coach.
We get Platt with that.
Exactly. Jeff Myers, O-line coach, coming over from Memphis. Marcus Johnson, O-line coach, coming over from Ohio State. On the defensive side of the ball, reported Ron Roberts was targeted for the defensive coordinator. The one we talked about today, Marion Hobby, defensive line coach, coming over from Tennessee. TJ Rushing, cornerbacks coach, coming over from Texas A&M. Darren Wilson, secondary coach, coming back to the program, had some stint at Florida and a couple other places. CJ Wolford, safeties coach, coming over from Georgia Southern. And then Chad Lunsford, a special teams coach, coming over from Auburn. So you're just missing that linebackers coach, and once you kind of get that all straightened out, if that is going to be the case, or if it's somebody's going to have double duty, not sure there, but this staff's filled out pretty nicely, and kind of once we get that all locked in, and we kind of get the official announcement that these guys have signed contracts and are for sure the coaches, then they can start hitting the transfer portal hard when that opens up. So
for sure.
So Transplant Texan, I've noticed this too. So you're not the only one here. I'm seeing Power 4 players in the portal that have prior relationships with either Silverfield, the hired/targeted coaches. Expand on that. You think this bodes well for Arkansas, the upcoming portal class? I think it does. We mentioned it earlier, thinking about running back. So, somebody mentioned, the Texas running back that entered the portal, CJ Baxter, had that previous relationship with David Johnson, the Florida State's running backs coach. and was offered at Arkansas previously. Well, but yeah, to your point, I think that does bode well for Arkansas. That a lot of these coaches that are being targeted / hired that have these relationships with these players will help for Arkansas because, you already have that rapport, that relationship with the player. And then, hey, you can be like, hey, look at what we're building over here. We already got these guys coming back, the confidence level. Not to mention, especially when you're trying to, for all intents and purposes, marketing the defensive players being like, hey, there's a lot of playing time open. So if you want to come play in the SEC, we've got the opportunity for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think it'll be good for the Arkansas portal class. I know, it's like Silverfield mentioned, he said he wants to have one of the best signing classes possible. And, he did an impressive job in the 3 days he had to flip and improve our incoming freshman class. And, to see what he's going to do with having more time to look at these guys, scout these guys that are entering the quote unquote entering the portal already until it officially opens. He can have scouting reports and kind of have guys circled that he wants to go after. And I think that's going to be the fun part of watching when the portal opens, how quickly we get some of these guys and, which guys we're getting in and, the talent levels that he's going to bring in.
Yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to on that. So I will definitely be keeping an eye out for it all.
Exactly. So, like we said, bowl season has officially started. Again, portal won't officially open until after January, after all these bowl games and everything. So we still got a little bit, but until then, we can focus on who's going to be coming back and returning, and who else making announcements in terms of the current roster. So. With that, you guys got anything else before we wrap up and get out of here?
I don't have anything. Just was big, as always.
Exactly. Before you know it, after the holidays, after the new year, we'll along with Hobbs, we'll start diving into some Arkansas baseball, as that's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah.
Another great recruiting signing class for Dave. In term and transfer portal class. So we'll have all that information for you.
And some big talent people that are still on the team. So
exactly.
Yep.
So with that, we're going to get ready to wrap up and get out of here. So as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Go hit that like and subscribe button. That way you don't miss any time we go live. These next few weeks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Transplant Texan coming in. Like, subscribe, and select all notifications. Next few weeks is going to be a little tricky, but we're going to work through it with holidays and everything upcoming. So we'll let you guys know what the schedule looks like over the next few weeks. But as always, everybody have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon. Everybody have a great beginning of your week. And from Hobbs and Zane and myself, we're going to get out here, and we'll see you when we see you.